Reddit fresh.
Am I the idiot for telling my son it was a mistake to put his name on a birth certificate of a child that's not his? I'll, male 48, start off by saying my son Peter, 25, has a big heart. He always has. It's gotten him into trouble quite a few times. A little over a year ago, he met June, 23. She was 12 weeks pregnant at the time, father no way in sight. Peter and June moved really fast. She was living with him just 4 months later. He told me that he was going to help her with the baby, which I was on the fence about as they had just met, but also figured it's not my business and it's honorable of him to want to help his girlfriend with her baby. June had a baby girl, Cadence, 6 months ago. Peter has been heavily involved in her life. Recently, he proposed to me in June. We went to their place to celebrate the big news. That's when my wife asked if Peter had plans to adopt Cadence. June and Peter avoided the subject and my wife let it drop, figuring it may be tricky, especially if Cadence's bio dad didn't want to relinquish rights. Later on, after Cadence was put to bed, June and Peter admitted that he wouldn't have to adopt Cadence as he's on the birth certificate. I asked, wasn't that fraud? He said after speaking to a lawyer, even if it made it to court, there's no legal repercussions. Their reasoning for doing this is Peter will have equal say in Cadence's life. If for whatever reason they broke up, he'd get custody. I instantly thought and he'd be on the hook for child support. But I stayed quiet. My wife asked if they planned on telling Cadence the truth and they said yes, it won't be a secret. The bio dad is also aware and doesn't care as he has no desire to be a dad. I don't think that June is trying to get money out of him. She actually comes from a wealthier family and works for her dad's company. I genuinely believe they just love each other, but to me, this is a recipe for disaster. I tried to let it go. Then, Peter stopped by the house for something and we got to talking about Cadence. Peter called her his daughter and I said I'm glad he loves her, but him signing the birth certificate was a huge mistake. I pointed out all the things that could go wrong. He said he doesn't care and wants to do right by his girls. He called me unsupportive and told me to either get on board or I won't get to be in my granddaughter's life. I love my granddaughter, blood doesn't matter. She's family. But I still think this is a mistake. Am I the idiot for voicing that? You're the idiot. So you're okay with him adopting her, thus having the birth cert changed then, but not from the jump when he's been in her life from pre-birth? None of that makes sense. He's going to be still on the hook for child support if he adopts her. You need to realize this is his family, not some money-making scheme. Not the idiot, I have no idea why so many. You're the idiot. Putting your name down on a birthday certificate when it's not your kid is stupid. Luckily, it sounds like they've had no repercussions, but it's still daft. I think it's reasonable to be concerned. Adoption is not the same as lying on a birth cert. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for letting my wife walk to the car in the dark? My wife, female 32, and I, male 36, went to catch a friend's band the other night. We'd been planning to grab food beforehand, but were running a little late and stopped by a restaurant/bar near the venue. We parked about 2 blocks away, about a 5-minute walk. It was about 8:15 p.m. and dark out in one of the busiest downtown parts of our city. When we got there, my wife realized that she'd forgotten her prescription glasses. Sparing the details, her eyes bother her occasionally to the point where she has trouble seeing, especially at night. It's hard for her to manage when she doesn't have her glasses, and when it's flaring up, she can only see when she closes one eye without them. We discussed a couple of options to get them, like going to the car after we ate and cutting it a little close to see our friend before the show started, going to the venue to see our friend first, then going to get her glasses, and her just running to the car while we were waiting for our food. The last one was her suggestion, and after we ordered, she asked for my keys and went to the car. She mentioned that it was a little sketchy later that night. There was a person experiencing homelessness, and I remember thinking, damn it, I should have gone to the car for her, though I don't think I said it out loud. Fast forward 4 days, and apparently she's been stewing over this because we got into an argument this morning where she said she wished I'd be more considerate and brought up what happened the other night. I asked what she meant, and she said I should have offered to walk to the car for her. In retrospect, I think she was dropping hints before she left the table that she didn't want to walk to the car, and I could have picked up on them. And the walk is a little sketchy. It's mostly a relatively well-lit alleyway behind the main strip of bars, except it's pretty dark right by where we parked and it's off of the busy part of the area. Still a somewhat high level of foot/car traffic, but I acknowledge that I should have done better, and told her as such. I also asked if, in the future, she could just tell me what she wants/needs in these times. I was distracted, tired, and brain foggy that night, and if she'd have asked, I would have gone. But it didn't cross my mind at the moment. She refuses to chalk it up to a mistake and let it go, and says she shouldn't have to ask me to do things like this for her. It should be a husband's instinct to do things like this for his wife. I don't disagree that I should have picked up on it, but if she was worried about it, she just needed to say something, and I definitely would have gone to the car for her. She believes me when I say that. I said that I don't do well with hints, and she's telling me that this is a signal that I don't care about her. So am I the idiot for being inconsiderate and letting my wife walk alone in the dark? Everyone sucks here. Truthfully, you should have gone to get it for her or finish your meal and then walk her to the car. Now hinting is not communicating. Hinting is what a child does when they specifically want something. Adults use words and tell you what they want to do. You both have a lack of communication that needs to be worked on. We aren't built to read minds, so better get that fixed before it becomes worse. You're the idiot. Common sense would tell you not to let a woman, especially someone who can't see properly without glasses, walk alone at night in a sketchy area. There are endless stories on the news about women being attacked and worse due to walking alone. It should have been a natural instinct to offer to walk your wife to the car. It shouldn't have prompted. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for excluding my brother's stepdaughter and wife at my wedding? I, female 25, am getting married next month. I'm having a small wedding, and the reception is being held at my aunt and uncle's house, which has a big backyard. The total number of people was 40, and only people important to us were invited. My brother Josh has quite a big family. He and his ex-wife Mindy have 2 kids together, and his second wife Lisa has a daughter, Liz, from their first marriage, and 2 together with him. Neither Liz nor Lisa like me. I understand why Lisa might not like me, but I don't know why Liz doesn't. I didn't want to spend money on people who hate me to come to my wedding, so I didn't invite Liz or Lisa. It was clearly mentioned in the wedding invitation too. Ever since my brother got the invitation, he is upset I'm excluding a vital part of his family. He wants me to put Lisa and Liz on the guest list. He's also mad that Mindy and her family are on the list and they, Lisa and Liz, aren't. I don't want to do it because it'll mess up my budget. His family is already 1/8 of the guest list, and again they, Liz and Lisa, hate me. My parents also think I'm being unfair and childish. I wanted to check, am I the idiot? Edit, forgot to add the reason Mindy is invited is because she and I are very close. My brother and I have a huge age difference. I'm adopted BTW, of 20 years, and she was there for 10 years of my life, 5 to 15. She is to me more like a sister than a sister-in-law. I told him he's free to decline the invite, but he doesn't want to and wants me to accommodate Lisa and Liz. Lisa doesn't like me because I'm very close to Mindy. I invite her, Mindy, to really important stuff, my 18th birthday, my college graduation, and a few of my birthdays, 21 and 25, and Lisa always complains and asks me to uninvite her, and when I refuse she gets upset. Not the idiot. It's your wedding. Why would you have people who aren't happy for you there? Your ex is still the mother of your nibblings, and Lisa's jealousy is not your burden to carry. She shouldn't have married a divorced dad if she was upset at dealing with an ex-wife at events that have nothing to do with her. Not the idiot after reading through your comments and your reasons to invite the ex-wife and the repeated behavior of your brother and new wife over you, including ex-wife in past major events, while not excluding the new wife. You so not the AH. If he wants to not come, that's his choice, but don't invite them, and I'd even go low to no contact moving forward. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not wanting to thank my husband? I, female 24, take care of a majority of the housework. I work from home usually about 4 to 6 hours a day. My husband, male 23, does some things around the house, mostly when I ask. He has gone to work at Monday to Friday from 7:30 to 5:30. So it makes more sense that I take on a majority of the housework. I make him breakfast and lunch and cook dinner every single day, and he usually thanks me for these things, but I see that as things I don't actually have to do. I do this because I want to do it for him, and he is good about thanking me for it, which is great. There are times that he will do house chores like dishes, vacuuming, etc., but is very sporadic. But I don't ever thank him for it. It's just stuff that has to get done around the house. I rarely get thanked for doing things around the house, but I don't need that because it's stuff that just has to be done. He's recently complaining that the reason he doesn't do things is because I don't thank him for doing the house chores. I honestly don't want to thank him because we are supposed to be a team in taking care of the house. Last night he ended up doing a lot of stuff like the dishes, vacuuming, resetting the kitchen, brushing the dog, etc. And he made a comment after dinner today about, and I jokingly said thank you and laughed a bit, not rudely. Then he said that it makes him want to do chores when I thank him, but when I don't he doesn't want to do them. And then a heated discussion ensued. I ended up telling him I'm not going to do anything around the house now unless I hear a thank you, and that means I'm not doing, insert super long list of stuff I do, and he said fine, but he seriously wants me to thank him after every single chore he does. And I just won't do it. He's not helping around the house. He owns this house too, and it's also his responsibility to know of the stuff that needs to get done around here. It overwhelms me sometimes that everything is on my plate, and when I have to think about what stuff he can do and then teach him how to do the thing, it's even more overwhelming. So, am I the idiot for not wanting to thank him for doing his share of work around the house, even though it's only a few tasks that he sometimes does? PSA, I love my husband so much. This is just something that is irritating, and I would love to know if I'm in the wrong so that I can make changes within myself. Update: thank you all for taking the time to express your opinions / give advice, and especially thank you to those that gave very helpful insight. My husband and I talked through this right after I posted this. We both admitted to areas where we can improve regarding this. And yes, I will be thanking him more. No, it's not hard to say thank you, but it wasn't about that, there was more to it. Regardless, I was in the wrong there, I'll admit that. Also, there's so much context and backstory missing, so please just remember that you never have the full story, but you literally can't put everything here because it would take years to write and no one's got the time to do that or read that. I have an amazing loving husband who is far more mature than me. We are growing together and giving each other grace upon grace. So, please don't attack his character. I could bet that he would be the nicest man you'd ever meet in your life, and he would do anything for anybody. Also, I wanted to reiterate that we agreed that I would take on a majority of the household duties because I work at home and it makes more sense. This was something that I proposed. By the way, he only works 8 hours, but he has gone from 7:30 to 5:30. I average 4-6-ish hours, but that means that many days I work 8+ clocked hours. But not always. Last note. He knows about this post, and we very much enjoyed reading everyone's responses, the nice and not so nice ones, which gave us a good laugh. Not the idiot. You get to cook him dinner, clean, do dishes, and everything else. He decides to help, but he, and only he, deserves a thank you for doing basic household chores. Please. You doing the majority of chores is expected, but he deserves a thank you every time he contributes? This is crazy. Not the idiot, man, sounds like the same argument me and my husband have on multiple occasions. He needs an endless amount of praise and acknowledgement when he does chores, even though I assign them to him. Yet I do weekly deep cleanings, laundry, errands, and pet appointments. I work as many hours as he does, but because I work nights he assumes I have my mornings free to do the housework. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for calling my boyfriend's mom's best friend, local doctor where I live, for urgent pregnancy advice? I, female 27, found out I am pregnant via home tests late on Thursday afternoon. I recently moved to the area my boyfriend grew up in. I do not have a doctor here yet. My boyfriend and his mom are away visiting family across the country. I am very close with his mom and have also gotten close with her best friend, F45, who is currently living temporarily with her locally and is an ER doctor here. On Thursday evening, after countless unanswered calls, I was debating going to the ER for testing/ultrasound. Not ideal, obviously, but I needed to see a specialist ASAP. For quick context on why I had to react quickly, I had an ectopic pregnancy a few years ago that resulted in sudden internal bleeding and a near-death emergency surgery. I am very high risk for another one. So, after discussing with my boyfriend and taking his advice, I called the friend of his mom who was home and off duty. I explained my situation very directly and calmly and asked for her direction. She told me to not rush to an ER and gave a referral for the next day. I expressed how appreciative I was. She called if anything came up that evening, and the conversation ended amicably. Fast forward 3 days. I received a text at 12 a.m. from her. Here it is with some redactions for privacy. I feel that it is necessary that I make you aware of a few things. I feel that it was wholly inappropriate that you involve me in your personal drama. Ex-boyfriend's mom is my best friend. I was placed in a no-win situation by a person who clearly doesn't understand boundaries. A person who relies on the fact that people are kind and accommodating even when their personal comfort is compromised. The sweet, unassuming, innocuous, helpless little girl act is just that, an act. What I see is a subversive, manipulative, sociopathic person who had to go out of her way to ruin X's vacation, and you used me to do it. Because you clearly have issues with boundaries, I'm going to make this crystal clear. I am not interested in any further interaction with you. The Dr., her last name, free clinic is closed. You have crossed a line, and I do not want to be saddled with your issues, medical or otherwise. There is no need to respond to this text. While calling her was a difficult choice and my last resort, the more I sat on the text message, the more I started to think I was an idiot for not considering further the position I was putting her in. I can see how she felt I overstepped given her friendship with X. I spoke with X on my own on Friday, but that's irrelevant here. On the other hand, I can't shake that, especially as a medical professional, she reduced my health concerns I shared with her over a risky pregnancy to drama in a 12 a.m. text. I know I was asking a huge favor, but I thought at that moment it was the best option in a tough situation where I was alone. Am I the idiot for involving someone who I now very clearly know didn't want to be involved in my pregnancy situation? Clarification edit, our phone call was at 5 p.m., not 12 a.m. 12 a.m. was when I received the text message 3 nights later. You're the idiot. She's not your doctor, not even an OBGYN, so it was not really appropriate to approach her in a work capacity in this way at midnight. Also, it may have been that she thought you were trying to involve her in a potential deliberation over an abortion of what would be her best friend's grandchild. You're the idiot. You didn't ask for advice, you asked for a referral. Totally different, and you're burying the lead. She's right to text you setting a firm boundary. You basically used your relationship with her to get her to work for free because you didn't want to listen to the advice you already been given by ER.